Hi and welcome. I'm Midnight Truth and I'm really glad you're here tonight. Wherever you are right now, whether you're in bed, curled up on the couch, or just taking a quiet moment for yourself, this time is yours. There's nothing to do, nothing to worry about. Just let yourself slow down. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, feel the weight of the day start to fade. Let your shoulders relax, your mind quiet, and your body sink into comfort. There's no rush, no pressure, just this peaceful moment. If you'd like, you can close your eyes and picture a place where you feel completely at ease. Maybe it's a cozy room with a soft glow of candlelight, or a quiet spot under the stars with a gentle breeze on your skin. Let yourself drift there, wrapped in warmth and stillness. I know many of you listen to these stories to fall asleep, so before we begin, take a second to tell me where you're listening from and what time it is there. And if you haven't already, go ahead and like this video and subscribe. It helps me bring you more stories to keep you company at night. Tonight's story is gentle and comforting, perfect for easing into a deep, restful sleep. So get cozy, close your eyes if you'd like, and let yourself drift. I pulled into the driveway just as the sun sank below the horizon, leaving the sky bruised with streaks of orange and purple. The moving truck grumbled behind me, its engine rattling like it was ready to give up, much like I felt after the past few months. My name's Sam Carter. I'd taken a job at a hardware store in this nowhere town after my divorce from Lisa gutted me financially and emotionally. The house in front of me, an old two-story heap with peeling gray paint and a porch that sagged like a tired old man, was the best I could scrape together on short notice. The realtor had called it a fixer-upper with charm. Charm, sure, if you liked the vibe of a place that looked like it had been abandoned for decades. The windows were smudged with years of grime, and when I shoved the front door open, it let out a long, creaking groan that echoed through the empty space. Inside, the air hit me, stale and heavy, laced with a sour tang I couldn't pin down, like spoiled milk left out too long. The floorboards whined under my boots as I hauled in the first box, each step sending sharp little squeaks bouncing off the walls. I spent that first day unpacking what mattered: my mattress, a few clothes, some kitchen stuff. The house was too big for just me, honestly. 3 bedrooms upstairs, all with warped doors that didn't quite close right. A living room with a fireplace clogged with ash and soot. A kitchen where the cabinets stuck like they were glued shut. Every move I made stirred up dust that floated in the dim light, catching in my throat. The floors creaked no matter where I stepped, a constant chorus of complaints, but I figured that was normal for a place this old. Houses like this had quirks. I deal with it. By nightfall I was wiped. I dragged the mattress into the master bedroom, biggest of the 3, with a cracked window overlooking the scraggly woods out back, and collapsed on it without bothering with sheets. The room felt drafty, even though I checked the window and found it sealed tight. I pulled the blanket up, shivering a little, and listened to the silence settle in. Then came the tapping. Faint at first, like a fingernail flicking glass coming from downstairs. I rolled over, telling myself it was just a branch brushing a window. The woods were close and the wind was picking up. Made sense. Sleep came fast, but it didn't last. I woke up sometime deep in the night, heart thudding for no reason I could name. The tapping was gone, replaced by a low, uneven creak, like someone shifting their weight on the floorboards downstairs. I sat up, blinking in the dark, and listened. It stopped, then started again, slower, almost deliberate. Creak. Pause. Creak. My mouth went dry, but I shook it off. Old houses settled, right? That's what people said. I lay back down, staring at the ceiling, waiting for it to stop. It did, eventually, but the quiet that followed felt heavier, like the air itself was holding its breath. Morning came gray and sluggish. I stumbled downstairs, brewed coffee in the chipped pot I'd unpacked, and tried to shake the unease clinging to me. The sour smell was back, stronger near the basement door, a narrow slab of wood at the end of the kitchen that I hadn't opened yet. The bulb down there was burnt out, and I didn't have a spare. I'd get to it later. For now, I had trash to take out. That's when I met Marjorie. I was dragging bags to the curb when she shuffled over from the house next door. A wiry woman in her 60s, gray hair yanked back in a tight bun, eyes sharp as broken glass. She introduced herself with a curt nod, her voice clipped and dry. "You're the new one," she said, glancing at the house like it might lunge at her. "Hope you're good with a hammer. That place has been rotting for years." I forced a grin, wiping sweat off my brow. "Yeah, it's got character. Needs work, but I'll manage." She didn't smile. "Character?" she muttered, almost spitting the word. "Last guy didn't think so. Ran out screaming one night, going on about footsteps and curses. Said the house wouldn't let him rest." I raised an eyebrow, expecting her to laugh, but her face stayed hard. "Footsteps?" I asked, keeping it light. "Heavy ones," she said. like boots stomping around. Heard him myself sometimes walking my dog past here. Never saw a soul though. Then there was the woman before him, left after a week, said something grabbed her arm in the dark. Folks called her crazy, but she swore it was real. She shrugged, turning away. Good luck, Sam. I watched her shuffle off, a chill crawling up my spine despite the morning sun. Small towns loved their ghost stories, I told myself. Probably just bored old-timers making up tales. I went back inside, the creaking floors greeting me like an old friend. The day passed unpacking more boxes, wrestling with a stuck window in the kitchen, and ignoring that sour smell wafting up from the basement. I kept busy, kept moving, but Marjorie's words stuck like damp rot in the back of my mind. That night, I cooked spaghetti, nothing fancy, just sauce from a jar, and ate at the rickety kitchen table. The house was quiet, save for the drip of the faucet I couldn't fix and the occasional groan of the walls. I was halfway through my plate when the tapping started again, sharper now, coming from the back of the house. I got up, checked the window over the sink, nothing but swaying trees in the dark. Wind, I thought, sitting back down. Just wind. But as I climbed the stairs to bed, the tapping shifted. It wasn't outside anymore. It was inside, slow, deliberate thuds, like someone pacing the hallway above me. I froze, one hand on the banister, listening. Thud, thud, thud. The sound moved away toward the empty bedrooms, then stopped. My pulse kicked up, but I forced myself to keep going. Old houses, I repeated in my head. Settling. Creaking. Normal. In my room, I locked the door, first time I'd bothered, and slid under the blanket. The draft was worse tonight, cutting through the walls like icy fingers. I lay there, eyes on the ceiling, waiting. The thuds didn't come back, but just as I started to drift off, something new cut through the silence. A low, raspy hum, like someone exhaling too close to my ear. I bolted upright, heart slamming against my ribs, and fumbled for the lamp. The light flared, showing nothing but my bare room, dresser, boxes, locked door. The hum stopped. I didn't sleep much after that. The house stayed quiet, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was waiting just out of sight. The first week blurred by, split between the hardware store and the house. Work was a lifeline, stocking shelves, mixing paint, chatting with customers who smelled like sawdust and motor oil. My manager, Pete, was a gruff guy with a smoker's rasp, born and raised in this town. He didn't ask about my past, and I didn't tell him. The routine kept me grounded, kept Lisa's voice, sharp and accusing, out of my head. I was doing fine. Better than fine. I had a job, a roof, a fresh start. The house, though, it fought me every step. The floors creaked louder each day, a jagged symphony that followed me room to room. The kitchen faucet dripped no matter how hard I twisted it, leaving rusty stains in the sink. That sour smell grew thicker near the basement door, a cloying rot that made my stomach turn. I still hadn't gone down there, kept putting it off, telling myself I'd get a bulb soon. Something about that dark stairwell felt wrong, like it was daring me to step inside. Marjorie's story gnawed at me more than I'd admit. I'd catch myself pausing, mid-sweep on the porch, unpacking a box, thinking about the guy who'd run out screaming. Footsteps. Curses. A woman grabbed in the dark. It was nonsense, I'd say, shaking my head. But at night, when the house went still, I'd hear things. A creak too slow to be the wind. A rustle like cloth dragging across the floor. I'd tell myself it was my imagination, that new places played tricks on you. Lisa used to say I overthought everything. Maybe she was right about that. Friday night, I got home late. The store had been chaos, spring sale, endless lines, and my legs ached as I kicked off my boots by the door. I microwaved leftover spaghetti and ate standing at the counter, too beat to sit. The house was quiet, just the hum of the fridge and the drip of that damn faucet. I finished, rinsed the plate, and trudged upstairs. Halfway up, a cold blast hit me, sharp, sudden, like someone had flung open a freezer door. I stopped, glancing down the stairs. Every window I could see was shut tight. I shook it off and kept going. In my room, I changed into sweats and flopped onto the mattress, the springs groaning under me. Sleep hit fast, pulling me under like a tide. I don't know how long I was out before it woke me. Not the tapping this time, footsteps. Heavy, deliberate thuds right outside my door. My eyes snapped open, the room swallowed in darkness except for a faint glow from the street lamp filtering through the curtains. I held my breath, listening. Thud, thud, thud. They moved slow, pacing the hall, back and forth like someone deciding where to go. My heart pounded so loud I thought it'd give me away. I waited, frozen, for them to stop. They didn't, just kept going, steady as a metronome. 10 minutes. 20. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my phone off the nightstand, 2:47 a.m., and turned on the flashlight. The beam wobbled as I aimed it at the door. The footsteps stopped the second the light hit it, like whatever was out there knew I'd moved. Silence crashed in, thick and suffocating. I sat there, sweat prickling my neck, waiting for it to start again. Nothing. Just the faint whistle of wind outside. I slid out of bed, legs shaky, and pressed my ear to the door. The wood was cold, almost damp, against my cheek. No sound, not a creak, not a thud. I turned the knob slow, wincing at every click, and cracked the door open an inch. The hall stretched out, pitch black, shadows pooling in the corners like spilled ink. I swung the flashlight beam across it. Empty. Just the warped boards and peeling wallpaper I'd walked past 100 times. I stepped out, barefoot, the floor icy under me. The air felt wrong, too still, too heavy. I checked the other rooms, 2 empty bedrooms with sagging floors, a closet with a busted shelf that smelled like mold. Nothing moved. Downstairs was the same. Locked doors, shut windows, the living room dim and silent. I even cracked the basement door, shining the light down those steep, narrow steps. The sour smell rolled up, thick and rancid, and I slammed it shut, my stomach churning. Back in my room, I locked the door and climbed into bed, phone still in hand. It was the house, I told myself. Old wood shifting, pipes banging, something normal. But my hands wouldn't stop shaking, and my eyes stayed glued to the door. The footsteps didn't come back that night, but I barely slept, jerking awake at every creak, every rustle. Morning brought weak sunlight and a splitting headache. I brewed coffee, double strength, and stood in the kitchen, staring at the basement door. If something was down there making noise, a rat, a loose board, I'd find it. No more jumping at shadows. I grabbed a new bulb from my work stash, a flashlight, and a screwdriver just in case. The basement door creaked louder than ever as I pulled it open, that sour rot hitting me like a punch. I flicked on the flashlight and started down, each step groaning under my weight. The air grew colder, damper, clinging to my skin like wet cloth. At the bottom, I found the light socket, screwed in the bulb, and flipped the switch. A sickly yellow glow sputtered to life, casting jagged shadows across the cracked concrete walls. It was a mess down there, piles of old boxes, rusted tools scattered like bones, a chair with a missing leg tipped over in the corner. Cobwebs draped everything, swaying as I moved. The furnace rumbled on, a low growl that made me jump, my flashlight beam darting to it. I laughed, short and shaky, just the heat kicking in. I poked around, kicking at boxes, looking for anything obvious. No rats, no pipes knocking. Just dust and junk. Then I saw it. Tucked in the far corner, behind a stack of splintered crates, was a small wooden box. Dark, warped, with a rusty latch that looked like it hadn't been touched in years. My chest tightened when I saw it. Don't ask me why. I crouched down, brushing off a crust of dirt. No carvings, no markings. Just old, weathered wood that felt too cold under my fingers. I flipped the latch with the screwdriver, the metal screeching, and lifted the lid. Inside was a leather-bound book, its cover cracked and faded, edges curling like dead leaves. A journal, maybe. I pulled it out, the leather icy and rough, and opened it. The pages were brittle, yellowed, filled with tight, spidery handwriting that slanted hard to the right. The first page had a name, Elias Hawthorne, and a date, June 12, 1897. I have begun the work, it read. The texts were true, the veil is thin here. The rituals will call it forth. I will see what lies beyond. My skin prickled, a shiver running down my arms. Rituals? I flipped a few pages, sketches of strange symbols, mentions of candles and blood, phrases like, the door must stay shut, and it hungers in the dark. My hands shook as I closed it, the sour smell suddenly sharper, like it was leaking from the book itself. I carried it upstairs, set it on the kitchen table, and stared at it. Part of me wanted to chuck it back where I'd found it, but I couldn't. Not yet. That night, I locked my door again. The house felt different, too quiet, too still. I lay in bed, the journal's words circling in my head. The veil is thin. It hungers. Sleep came slow, and when it did, I dreamed of footsteps, endless, thudding footsteps, chasing me through a house with no doors. Work was my anchor that next week. I'd leave at dawn, come home after dark, and collapse into bed too tired to think about the house or the journal. Pete kept me busy, unloading shipments, cutting lumber, ringing up customers with calloused hands and tired eyes. I liked the noise, the normalcy. It drowned out the creaks and thuds that waited for me back home. The house didn't let me forget, though. The floors groaned louder, a constant whine under my feet. The sour smell crept upstairs now, seeping into the living room, the hallway, my clothes. I'd wake up tasting it like I'd swallowed something rancid. The basement door stayed shut. I hadn't gone back down since finding the journal, but I'd catch myself staring at it, wondering what else was hiding down there. Marjorie's words stuck like burrs. The guy who'd run out screaming, the woman grabbed in the dark. They felt less like stories now, more like warnings. I'd hear things at night, creaks too rhythmic to be random, a faint tapping that moved from room to room. I'd tell myself it was the wind, the house settling, but deep down I wasn't buying it anymore. Not after the footsteps outside my door. Not after that hum by my ear. Friday night I got home late again. My boots hit the floor by the door, caked with sawdust, and I microwaved a frozen pizza, eating it straight from the box. The house was silent, the kind of quiet that presses against your ears. I was halfway up the stairs when the cold hit, sharp and sudden like stepping into a meat locker. My breath fogged in front of me, curling in the dim light. I stopped, hand on the banister, and looked back. The living room was dark, windows shut tight. No draft, no reason for it. I kept going, slower now, the air growing heavier with each step. In my room, I locked the door and changed, the chill lingering on my skin. I climbed into bed, pulling the blanket tight, and shut my eyes. Sleep came fast, but it shattered when the footsteps started. Thud, thud, thud. Right outside my door again, slow and heavy, like someone pacing with purpose. I bolted upright, heart slamming against my ribs. The room was black, the street lamp's glow barely cutting through the curtains. The footsteps didn't stop this time, they kept going back and forth, the floor creaking under each one. My phone glowed on the nightstand, 1:53 a.m. I grabbed it, turned on the flashlight, and aimed it at the door. The beam trembled, but the footsteps didn't falter. Thud, thud, thud. They moved past, toward the empty bedrooms, then circled back. I couldn't breathe right, my chest tight. I waited 10 minutes, 20, 30, the pacing relentless like it was taunting me. Finally, I couldn't stand it. I slid out of bed, barefoot on the icy floor, and crept to the door. The knob was cold, almost wet, under my hand. I turned it slow, cracking the door an inch, and shone the light out. The hall was empty, shadows twisting in the corners like smoke. The footsteps stopped the second the beam hit them, silence slamming down hard. I stepped out, the air thick and damp, like I'd walked into a cave. My light swept the floor, nothing but warped boards and peeling paint. I checked the other rooms, heart pounding, expecting something, a figure, a face. Empty. Just dust and stillness. Downstairs was the same, locked doors, shut windows, the living room dark and cold. I opened the basement door, just a crack, and the sour smell poured out, so thick I gagged. The flashlight beam bounced down the stairs, catching cobwebs and concrete, but I didn't go down. I couldn't. I slammed it shut and locked it, my hands shaking. Back in my room, I sat on the bed, light on, listening. The house stayed quiet, but my nerves were shot. I didn't sleep, just stared at the door, waiting. Morning came slow, gray light creeping through the window. I made coffee, hands unsteady, and decided to talk to Marjorie. If anyone knew more, it'd be her. I caught her outside, hosing down her patchy lawn. She looked up as I crossed the street, her eyes narrowing like she'd been expecting me. "Hey, Marjorie," I said, keeping my voice even. "You mentioned that guy who lived here. What else did he say about the footsteps?" She turned off the hose, wiping her hands on her jeans. "Plenty," she said, her tone flat. "Said they started a week in, heavy boots, stomping at night. Thought it was rats, but he tore the place apart and found nothing. Then came the whispers, low like voices in the walls. Kept him up, till he was half mad. Said he'd wake up to cold spots, shadows moving where they shouldn't." Whispers. My throat tightened, but I kept my face blank. Yep. Got worse the longer he stayed. One night, he felt something sit on his bed. Mattress sank, covers pulled tight. Swore he heard it breathing right by his face. That's when he ran, left everything, tore out of here yelling about curses. I saw him myself, wild-eyed, shaking. Folks thought he'd cracked, but I don't know. She paused, staring at the house. The woman before him said worse. Something grabbed her arm, left bruises. She showed me too. Black marks like fingers. I swallowed hard, forcing a nod. Sounds intense. Probably just made it up, right? She didn't answer, just gave me that hard look again. "You hear anything yet?" "Nah," I lied, my voice thinner than I wanted. "Just creaks. Old house stuff." She grunted, turning back to her hose. "Watch yourself, Sam." I walked away, her words sinking in like lead. Whispers. Something sitting on the bed. Bruises. It was crazy, but it matched too much. Those footsteps, that hum. I spent the day busy, fixing the faucet, sweeping the porch, anything to keep my mind off it. The journal sat on the table, unopened, daring me to read it. I ignored it. That night, I triple-checked the locks. The footsteps didn't come, but around 2 a.m., I woke to that raspy hum again, louder, closer, like it was right beside my pillow. I lunged for the lamp, light flooding the room. Nothing. Just my boxes, my dresser, the locked door. The hum faded, but the air stayed cold, my breath fogging in front of me. I sat up, lamp on, till dawn. My eyes burned, my head throbbed, but I couldn't close them. I kept hearing Marjorie, something breathing by his face. Bruises like fingers. The house creaked around me, a low, mocking groan, and I wondered if I'd imagined locking the door at all. Work was my only escape that week. I dragged myself in bleary-eyed and lose myself in the grind, stacking nails, cutting keys, dodging Pete's sidelong glances. He asked once if I was okay, and I mumbled about bad sleep. He didn't push, just handed me a stack of inventory sheets and left me to it. I was grateful. Talking about the house felt like inviting it into the daylight, and I wasn't ready for that. Home was a different story. The creaks were constant now, a jagged rhythm that followed me everywhere. The sour smell coated everything. My coffee tasted like it, my shirts reeked of it. I'd catch myself holding my breath near the basement door, that slab of wood looming like a gravestone. I still hadn't gone back down, but I couldn't stop thinking about the journal, Elias Hawthorne, his work, those symbols scratched in ink. Friday, I couldn't dodge it anymore. I got home late, dropped my keys on the counter, and stared at the journal on the table. Pete had said something that day, casual, over lunch. That house. Been weird since I was a kid. Guy who built it was into some freaky stuff. Died there, I think. People say it's cursed, but that's just talk. I'd laughed it off, but it stuck. Freaky stuff. Rituals. Elias. I grabbed a beer, popped it open, and sat down, flipping the journal open. The handwriting crawled across the pages, sharp and frantic. The veil is thin here, he'd written. I have prepared the circle, the blood, the words. It will come. More pages, sketches of pentagrams, a slashed circle, notes about binding and feeding. One line hit me like a fist. It moves at night. The house trembles with it. I hear its steps. My hands went clammy. I flipped further, beer forgotten. The cold follows it, he wrote later. I feel it in my marrow, a hunger I cannot sate. It watches from the shadows. The last pages were messy, ink smudged like he'd written in a panic. I was wrong. It does not obey. It waits. The house groaned as I shut the book, a long shuddering sound from upstairs, like it was answering. I told myself it was the wind, the old wood flexing, but my pulse raced. I shoved the journal in a drawer and stood, pacing the kitchen. Footsteps. Cold. Watching. It was too close to what I'd felt, what I'd heard. I locked my door that night, double-checked it, and climbed into bed. The draft was worse, slicing through the blanket like blades. I lay there, eyes on the ceiling, waiting. The footsteps came at midnight, thud, 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 louder than before, shaking the floor. They paced the hall, relentless, back and forth, like something searching. I sat up, phone in hand, flashlight ready, but I didn't move. I couldn't. Then came the hum, low, raspy, right by my ear. I swung the light around, beams slashing the dark. Nothing. The air turned frigid, my breath clouding, and the hum grew, vibrating in my chest. The footsteps stopped, but the bed creaked, not me shifting, something heavier. A slow, deliberate pressure sank into the mattress by my feet. I froze, eyes locked on the foot of the bed. The blanket twitched like something tugged it, and the pressure crept closer, inch by inch, cold air brushing my legs. My throat locked, a scream stuck there. The hum turned to a growl, low and guttural, and the weight pressed harder, like it was sitting right on me. I felt it, a presence, solid and wrong, inches from my face. Then it was gone. The cold lifted, the growl faded, the mattress sprang back. I lunged for the lamp, light flooding the room, empty. No dents in the bed, no marks, nothing. But my skin crawled, my lungs burned, and I knew I hadn't imagined it. I grabbed my pillow and blanket, stumbled downstairs, and slept on the couch, lights blazing, TV on full blast. Morning came slow. I sat there, coffee cold in my hands, staring at the stairs. The journal wasn't a story, it was a map, and I was walking it. Elias had done something, brought something here, and it wasn't gone. I had to know more. I drove to the library, a squat brick building downtown, and asked the board clerk for old records. She pointed me to a microfiche machine and a box of dusty files, barely looking up. It took hours, but I found him. An article from 1899, local man found dead in home. Elias Hawthorne, 42, dead in his basement, no cause listed. Neighbors reported odd behavior, reclusive, muttering about doors and watchers. Strange smells and noises plagued the property. Another piece years later, tenant flees, claims unseen entity tormented him. Footsteps, cold hands in the night. I printed it, hands trembling. Elias wasn't just crazy, he'd succeeded. Whatever he'd called was still here, and I was living with it. I drove home, the house looming bigger, darker as I pulled up. The air inside was thick, the sour smell choking me. I locked the basement door with a padlock from work, shoved the journal deeper in the drawer, and sat there, beer in hand, listening to the house creak, louder, angrier, like it knew I'd figured it out. That night, I stayed downstairs again. The footsteps came anyway, thudding overhead, shaking the ceiling. Dust sifted down, coating my blanket. The hum followed, weaving through the walls, and I swear I saw a shadow flicker in the corner, tall, thin, gone when I blinked. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. The house wasn't mine anymore. I stopped sleeping upstairs after that night. The couch was my bed now, the living room my bunker. Lights on, TV blaring static and late-night ads. Work became a haze. I'd stumble through shifts, eyes burning, hands unsteady. Pete noticed, asked if I was sick. Just tired, I said, dodging his frown. I couldn't tell him the truth. I barely believed it myself, and saying it out loud felt like giving it power. The house didn't care about my denial. The footsteps came every night now, pacing the hall above me, shaking the ceiling, till plaster cracked and fell. The sour smell was everywhere. My skin, my hair, the air I breathed. Cold spots bloomed without warning. I'd be pouring coffee, and the kitchen would freeze, my fingers numb, breath fogging like I was standing in snow. I'd spin around, expecting something, a face, a hand, but it was always empty. I read the journal again, every page, sitting at the kitchen table with a flashlight, 'cause the lights kept flickering. Elias called it the Watcher, something ancient, hungry, bound to the house by his rituals. It feeds on fear, he wrote, ink trembling. I see it in the dark, a shape that shifts, tall, thin, eyeless. It moves through the walls. He tried to banish it, late in the book, scrawled chants, symbols to close the door. The last pages were a mess, smeared with what looked like blood. I cannot stop it. It waits. My stomach twisted. I'd felt it, that weight, that growl. It wasn't just noise anymore. It was alive, watching me like Elias said. I started seeing things, shadows darting in my peripheral, gone when I turned. A creak that trailed me too close to my steps. One night, washing dishes, I caught my reflection in the window, and something behind me. A dark smear, tall and jagged, hovering over my shoulder. I dropped the plate, spun around, nothing. The sink water ran cold, my hands shaking, till I shut it off. Marjorie caught me outside the next morning, dragging trash bags with bags under my eyes. "You're pale," she said, her voice sharp. "Heard anything yet?" I nodded, too tired to lie. Footsteps. Cold spots. Weird stuff. Her lips thinned. "Told you. I saw it once, years back, when the place was empty. A shadow in the upstairs window, moving fast. Too tall to be human. You should get out, Sam." "Can't," I said, my throat tight. "Lease is 6 months. No money to break it." She didn't argue, just turned away, muttering something I didn't catch. I envied her. Her house was quiet, safe. Mine was a trap. That night, I taped the journal shut with duct tape and buried it in the drawer. Knowing more didn't help, it just tightened the noose. I drank 3 beers, hoping to pass out, but sleep brought nightmares, shadows with clawing hands, whispers that knew my name. I woke to a crash. Middle of the night, the living room pitch black, the lamp dead. I fumbled for my phone. 3:33 a.m., battery drained though I'd plugged it in. Another crash, louder, from upstairs. Glass shattering. I grabbed the flashlight, beam shaking as I crept to the stairs. The air was freezing, my teeth chattering, breath fogging thick. I climbed slow, each step creaking like a scream. In the hall, a window was smashed, jagged shards glinting on the floor, wind howling through. But the cold wasn't from that, it was deeper, sharper, like it came from the walls. I stepped forward and the floor groaned, not my weight, something heavier. Thud, thud, thud. Footsteps coming from my room. The door was cracked open, swaying like something had just pushed through. I backed up, heart in my throat, and stumbled downstairs. The couch wasn't safe anymore. Nothing was. I grabbed my keys, my coat, and ran to the car, peeling out without looking back. I drove aimlessly, streets blurring, till I found a 24-hour diner. I sat in a booth, hands wrapped around coffee I didn't drink, till dawn. The waitress asked if I was okay. I nodded, lying through my teeth. Back home, the house was silent, the broken window staring like an empty eye. I boarded it up with plywood from work, hands shaking, and stayed downstairs. That night, the footsteps didn't come, but the hum did, low and steady, weaving through the walls. I saw it again, A shadow in the corner, taller, sharper, watching me till I blinked it away. Sleep was a lost cause. I sat there, flashlight on, waiting for it to move. I couldn't pretend anymore. The house wasn't just old, it was alive, infested with whatever Elias had summoned. I called in sick Monday, my voice hoarse over the phone, and Pete didn't argue. I spent the day at the library again, digging deeper. The microfiche word, spitting out yellowed articles. Elias's death in 1899, tenants fleeing over decades. One from 1923 stuck. Man abandons home, claims entity choked him in sleep, left claw marks on his neck. I found a book too, buried in the history section. Occult Legends of the County. A chapter on Elias. Hawthorne, a recluse, studied forbidden texts, performed rituals in his basement. Neighbors reported screams, lights flickering at odd hours. His death ended the activity, briefly. It mentioned the house passing hands, each owner leaving faster than the last. A presence lingers, it said, tied to Hawthorne's work. I photocopied it all, hands sweaty, and drove home. The house loomed, windows dark, air thick as I stepped inside. The sour smell was unbearable, like rotting meat now, and the creaks followed me, slow, deliberate, like footsteps mocking mine. I went to the basement, flashlight and crowbar in hand, determined to face it. The stairs groaned louder, the air colder, wetter, sticking to my lungs. The bulb flickered, casting jagged shadows. I searched every corner, boxes, tools, that busted chair. Then I saw them, scratches on the wall, deep and ragged, clawing into the concrete. Above, faded but clear, was Elias's symbol, a circle with a slashed line. My breath caught, the flashlight shaking. This was it, his binding, his trap. Then the whisper came, low, guttural, from the dark. Sam. My name stretched and raspy like it was tasting it. I swung the light around, dust, shadows, nothing. The air thickened, the smell choking me, and the whisper grew, Sam. Sam. Overlapping, echoing off the walls. I ran, feet pounding the stairs, and slammed the door, wedging the crowbar under it. I didn't sleep, just sat on the couch, lights on, listening. The footsteps started at midnight, thudding overhead, then down the stairs, slow and heavy. They stopped at the living room doorway. I gripped a knife from the kitchen, staring at the dark opening. A shadow moved, tall, thin, shifting like liquid. It didn't step inside, just stood there, eyeless but watching. My skin crawled, bow rising, but I didn't move. It lingered, minutes, hours, I couldn't tell, then faded, the footsteps retreating upstairs. I stayed awake, knife in hand, till dawn. I had to end this. The journal, the symbol, there was a way. I called Pete, took a week off, and hit the library again. Occult books said the slashed circle was containment. Elias had trapped it here. I could break it, banish it. Salt, candles, words. I bought supplies, salt bags, candles, matches, and prepared. That night, I went to the basement, drew the symbol in salt, lit the candles, and read the chant I'd found, leave this place, return to shadow. My voice shook, the air grew heavy, the candles flickered wild. The whispers started, dozens, furious, clawing at my ears. I shouted the words, the footsteps thundered above, shaking the walls. A candle fell, wax splattering, and the whispers screamed, a high, piercing wail that split my skull. Then silence. The air cleared, the smell eased. I stood there, panting, salt crunching under my boots. Nothing moved. I climbed upstairs, locked the basement, and collapsed on the couch. It was gone. I'd done it. For 2 days it was quiet. No footsteps, no hum, no cold. The house felt normal, just creaky, drafty old. I slept upstairs again, lights off, and woke up rested. The sour smell faded to a faint whiff, the air lighter. I'd beaten it, sent it back through whatever door Elias had opened. I even waved at Marjorie, feeling human again. The third night it came back. I was drifting off when the air turned frigid, sharper than before, cutting through the blanket. My breath fogged, thick and white, and a growl started, low, deep, rattling my bones. I lunged for the lamp, it wouldn't turn on. The growl grew, the bed creaking, not me, something else. A heavy weight sank into the mattress, slow and deliberate, by my feet. I sat up, eyes wide, heart hammering. The air was ice, my fingers numb. The weight shifted, creeping closer, cold air brushing my legs, my hips. The growl turned guttural, vibrating the walls, and the shadow rose, taller, sharper, a jagged outline at the bed's end. My throat locked, no sound coming out. The bed shook as it moved, closer, closer, till I felt it, a pressure on my chest, heavy and wrong, pinning me down. I thrashed, kicking free, and bolted from the room, the growl chasing me. The hall was freezing, the floor trembling. Thud, 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 footsteps right behind. I stumbled downstairs, grabbed my keys, and ran outside, the night air warm against the cold still clinging to me. I drove to a motel, hands shaking, and checked in, locking the door, lights blazing. I sat on the bed, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed, dead all day, now alive. A text, no number, it waits. I dropped it, chest heaving. Dawn came slow, gray and heavy. I couldn't go back. I quit my job over the phone, Pete cursing me out, and packed my car. I drove past the house one last time, windows dark, porch sagging. As I turned away, a hum started, low, faint, from the back seat. I slammed the brakes, checked the mirror, empty. My hands gripped the wheel, knuckles white, and I floored it, leaving the town behind. The hum faded, but my skin still crawled, my breath still caught. It wasn't over. I drove till I crossed state lines, stopping at a rundown motel with flickering neon. I paid cash, locked the door, and shoved a chair under it, sitting on the bed with the lights on. The hum didn't follow, but every creak of the building, every distant footstep from another room, made me jump. I kept my shoes on, keys in my pocket, ready to run. I called Jake, a friend from before the divorce, waking him up. I spilled it all, the house, the footsteps, the weight, Elias. My voice cracked, words tumbling out. He listened quiet, then said, "Sam, you're scaring me. You need help? Therapy, maybe?" "I'm not crazy," I snapped. "It's real." "Okay, man. Just stay put. I'll come get you." He showed up the next day, bleary-eyed, with coffee and questions I didn't answer. He didn't believe me, I saw it in his tight smile, but he helped load my stuff into his truck. I left half my things in that house, no way I'd go back. We drove to his place 3 hours away, and he gave me his spare room, small, cluttered, normal. I slept hard that first night, no dreams, no sounds. The second night, I woke to a chill, not cold, just a prickle like something brushed my neck. I turned on the light, empty room, just boxes and a sagging bed. I told myself it was nothing, just nerves frayed raw. Jake kept me busy, cards, beers, old movies, and I started to relax, to think I'd outrun it. A week in, it found me. I woke to a thud, faint, from the hall. I sat up, listening. Thud, thud, slow testing. My stomach dropped. I didn't tell Jake, didn't want him locking me up, calling me nuts. The footsteps stopped, but the chill stayed, creeping under the door. I slept with the light on after that, checking shadows, jumping at every creak. One morning I saw it, a scratch on the wall by my bed, jagged and deep like the basement marks. I hadn't brought it. I couldn't have. But there it was, mocking me. I packed my bag that day, told Jake I had a job lined up, lied through my teeth, and left. Another motel, another town. I kept moving, never settling. The footsteps followed, soft some nights, loud others. The hum came too, weaving through walls, and sometimes that weight, a dip in the mattress, cold air on my skin. I stopped working, lived off what I had left. Motels blurred, stale air, thin sheets, TVs flickering static. I checked mirrors, corners, under beds. Nothing solid, just hints. A shadow too tall. A whisper when I was alone. I tried the banishment again in a motel bathroom. Salt, candles, words shouted, till my voice broke. The lights dimmed, the air screamed, but it didn't stop. One night, I found the journal in my bag. I hadn't packed it, hadn't seen it since the house. My hands shook as I opened it. A new page, wet ink, it follows. Not my hand, not Elias's. I burned it in the sink, flames licking the pages, till they blackened. The smoke choked me, but the air felt lighter, for a moment. The burning didn't stop it. The next night, the footsteps came, thudding through the motel floor, shaking the bed. I grabbed my bag and ran, drove, till the sun rose, till I found a room above a bar in some nowhere town. The noise below, drunken laughs, clinking glasses, kept it at bay sometimes. I locked the door, wedged a chair under it, and sat there listening. It didn't leave. Footsteps paced the hall when the bar quieted, slow, heavy, stopping outside my door. The hum slipped through the walls, low and steady like a heartbeat. The weight came less, but when it did, I'd wake to the bed sinking, cold air pooling around me, a shadow flickering at the edge of my vision. Taller, sharper, eyeless but alive. I don't sleep much now. Coffee keeps me awake, my hands jittery from it. I check locks, windows, mirrors, see it sometimes, a smear in the glass, gone when I turn. Last night, I woke to a thud, not the floor, the ceiling. Something pacing above me. I'm on the top floor. I stared at the cracked plaster, breath shallow, till it stopped. The hum came as I drifted off, a lullaby I can't escape. I'll move again soon. Keep running. But I hear it, every night, every shadow, and I'm scared it's not done. The house might still stand, creaking, waiting for someone new. Or maybe it's me it wants and it'll follow till I break. I didn't stay long in that room above the bar. The footsteps on the ceiling, thudding slow and heavy, like boots grinding into the plaster, were the last straw. I'd lain there, eyes locked on the cracked ceiling, waiting for it to break through, for something to drop down and pin me to the bed. It didn't, but the hum followed, low and steady, seeping into my skull, till I couldn't tell if it was outside me or inside my head. By morning, my hands shook too bad to hold the coffee cup, and the bar's noise, laughter, clinking bottles, felt like a taunt. I packed my bag, paid the grizzled owner in crumpled bills, and hit the road again. My name's Sam Carter, in case you're wondering how I got here. A month ago, I was just a guy starting over, new job at a hardware store, new town, a creaky old house I thought I could make mine after Lisa took everything else in the divorce. Now I'm a ghost myself, drifting from motel to motel, running from something I can't see but can't escape. I don't know if it's tied to that house or if I carried it with me when I burned Elias Hawthorne's journal. His mad scribbles about rituals and the watcher that feeds on fear. All I know is it's still here and it's getting bolder. I drove till the sun was high, the highway stretching out flat and endless. My eyes burned, gritty from no sleep, and the car smelled like stale coffee and sweat-soaked clothes. I found another motel, an L-shaped dump off the interstate, paint peeling from the walls, a neon sign buzzing vacancy like a dying insect. The clerk didn't look up from his phone as I slid cash across the counter. Room 14, he said, tossing me a key with a chipped plastic tag. I locked myself in, shoved the dresser against the door, and sat on the bed, staring at the faded floral curtains. The room was quiet, just the hum of a vending machine outside, but I didn't trust it. Quiet never lasted. I tried to sleep, sprawled on the lumpy mattress with my boots on, keys digging into my hip. My body ached, begging for rest, but my mind wouldn't shut off. Every creak of the building, every distant car door slamming, made me twitch. I kept seeing that shadow from the house. Tall, thin, shifting like smoke, eyeless but watching. I kept feeling that weight on the bed, the cold air brushing my skin, the growl that shook my bones. I'd banished it, hadn't I? Salt, candles, words shouted in the basement, Elias's symbol crumbling under my hands. It had worked for 2 days. Then it came back, angrier, hungrier. Sleep caught me eventually, dragging me under like a tide. I dreamed of the house, endless halls stretching out, floors creaking under footsteps I couldn't see. The air was thick, sour, choking me as I ran, doors slamming shut behind me. I turned a corner, and there it was, a shadow taller than the walls, jagged edges bleeding into the dark, no face but a presence that pressed against my chest. It didn't move, just stood there, humming, till the sound filled my skull and my ears bled. I woke up gasping, the room dark, my shirt soaked with sweat. The clock blinked 3:17 a.m., red numbers glowing like eyes. I fumbled for the lamp. Nothing. The bulb was dead or the power was out. I grabbed my flashlight from the bag, clicked it on, and swept the beam across the room. The curtains hung still, the dresser unmoved, but the air was wrong. Too cold, too heavy, like I'd woken up underwater. My breath fogged in front of me, curling in the flashlight's glare, and I heard it, a thud. Slow, deliberate from the bathroom. I froze, beam locked on the half-open bathroom door. Thud, thud, thud. Footsteps, heavy and wet like boots slogging through mud. My heart slammed against my ribs, loud enough to drown out the hum starting low in the walls. I slid off the bed, barefoot on the scratchy carpet, and crept toward the door, flashlight shaking. The air got colder with every step, my teeth chattering, the sour smell creeping in, rotten, thick, like meat left to spoil. I pushed the bathroom door with the flashlight's tip, the hinges squealing. The beam hit cracked tiles, a rusted sink, a shower curtain sagging on its rod. The footsteps stopped, but the hum grew, vibrating the mirror, till it rattled in its frame. I stepped inside, the cold biting my feet, and swung the light to the shower. The curtain twitched, not the wind, something behind it. My throat locked, a scream stuck there, but I grabbed the edge and yanked it back. Nothing. Just mildew stains and a dripping faucet. I let out a shaky breath, laughing at myself, short, jagged, half-crazed. Then the mirror fogged, my reflection blurring, and the hum turned to a whisper. Sam. My name, raspy and slow, like it was tasting me. I spun around, empty room, empty hall, but the whisper kept going, overlapping now. Sam. Sam. Dozens of voices clawing at my ears, coming from the walls, the floor, the ceiling. I stumbled back, flashlight dropping, beam rolling wild across the tiles. The air thickened, pressing against my chest, and the footsteps started again. Thud, 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 circling me closer, louder, till the floor shook. I grabbed the light, ran to the main room and stopped dead. The dresser was moved, pushed aside, the door cracked open an inch, darkness spilling in. I hadn't touched it. I'd locked it, shoved it tight. The hum surged, a growl now rattling my teeth. I swung the flashlight to the door. Something moved outside, a shadow darting past the gap, tall and thin, too fast to be human. My stomach dropped while rising and I lunged for my bag, keys jangling in my hand. The footsteps thundered behind me, not the bathroom, the room now, right behind me, thudding so hard the bed frame jumped. I didn't look back, just tore the door open and ran barefoot across the gravel lot, till I hit my car. I fumbled the key into the ignition, hands slick with sweat, and peeled out, tires screaming. The motel shrank in the rear view, but the hum followed, faint, weaving through the engine's roar. I checked the mirror, nothing, just empty seats, but my skin crawled, my neck prickling like something was breathing there. I drove till dawn, till the sky bled pink and the hum faded, stopping at a gas station with trembling hands and a pounding head. I sat there, engine off, staring at the pump. My flashlight was gone, left in the room, rolling on the floor. My bag was half open, clothes spilling out, but I didn't care. I pumped gas, bought coffee that tasted like ash, and got back on the road. No plan, just motion. If I stopped, it'd find me. It always did. Days blurred after that. Another motel, this one a brick box near a truck stop, buzzing with diesel fumes and CB radio chatter. I checked in, locked the door, wedged the chair under it, same routine, same dread. Sleep came in fits, broken by thuds or that hum, always waking me at 3 a.m. I'd sit up, flashlight in hand, new one from a convenience store, sweeping the room. Sometimes the shadows moved, darting when I blinked. Sometimes the air went cold, my breath fogging, and I'd hear my name whispered from the vents. One night I woke to the weight. Not a dream, real, heavy, sinking the mattress by my legs. I didn't move, didn't breathe, just lay there, eyes locked on the ceiling. The air was ice, my skin prickling, and the growl started, low, guttural, vibrating the bed. The weight shifted, creeping up, past my knees, my thighs, slow and deliberate like it was savoring me. I felt it, cold, solid, pressing against my hips, my chest, till I couldn't draw a full breath. The growl turned to a hiss, right by my ear, and the shadow rose, taller than the room, jagged edges bleeding into the dark, no face but a hunger I could feel. My hands clenched the sheets, knuckles white, and I waited, prayed for it to end. It didn't move closer, just hovered, the weight crushing me, the hiss weaving my name into a chant. Sam, Sam, Sam. Over and over, till my ears rang and my vision blurred. Then it was gone. The weight lifted, the cold eased, the shadow melted away. I gasped, rolling off the bed, and hit the floor hard, flashlight clattering. The room was empty, the chair still wedged, the door locked. But my chest ached, my legs trembled, and I knew it had been there. Real, not a dream. I didn't sleep after that, just sat against the wall, light on, till the sun crept through the blinds. Morning brought no relief. I checked the mirror, bags under my eyes, skin pale and waxy, but something else. A mark on my neck. Faint, red, like fingers had pressed too hard. I touched it, wincing, and my stomach flipped. Bruises like fingers, Marjorie had said. The woman from the house years ago. I scrubbed it with a towel, but it stayed, a quiet brand. I packed up, hit the road again. The car was my cage now, coffee cups piling up, wrappers on the floor, the hum a constant passenger. I'd catch it in the mirror sometimes, a flicker, a smear, tall and thin, gone when I turned. The footsteps followed too, thudding in motel rooms, gas stations, once even in the car, shaking the seats, till I pulled over, shaking and swearing. I don't know where I'm going anymore. Another town, another room, I check in, lock up, wait. The mark on my neck darkens each day, spreading like a stain. The weight comes more often, the growl louder, the shadow closer. I burned the journal, left the house, but it's not done. It's in me now, or I'm in it, and every night I hear it, thudding, humming, whispering my name. I'm running out of road, out of fight, and I'm scared it's just waiting for me to stop. I don't know how many days I've been running now. The road blurs into a gray smear, highways, back roads, neon signs flickering past like dying stars. My name's Sam Carter, and I used to think I could start over. New job, new town, a creaky old house to call mine after Lisa tore my life apart in the divorce. That was before the footsteps, the hum, the weight that won't let me go. Before Elias Hawthorne's journal told me what I'd moved into. A house alive with something he'd summoned, something that feeds on fear and follows me still. I burned that book, left the house behind, but it's not done with me. It's in the car, in the motels, in my skin. I stopped counting the motels after the last one. The brick box near the truck stop where the shadow pinned me to the bed, hissing my name, till my ears bled in my dreams. The mark on my neck's darker now, a bruise that's spread into thin, jagged lines, like veins crawling under my skin. I catch myself touching it, pressing, till it stings, hoping it'll fade. It doesn't. It grows, slow and steady, a map of something I can't outrun. I'm in a new place tonight, a squat, single-story motel off a 2-lane road, surrounded by flat fields and a sky heavy with clouds. The sign out front says "Rest Easy," but the letters flicker, buzzing like flies. I paid cash, same as always, to a clerk with yellow teeth who didn't look me in the eye. Room 7 this time, a corner unit with a window facing the empty lot. I locked the door, shoved the dresser against it, routine now, muscle memory, and checked the room. Bed with a sagging mattress, a TV bolted to the wall, a bathroom with a cracked mirror and a shower that smells like rust. Quiet for now. I don't unpack anymore. Just drop my bag by the bed, keys in my pocket, boots on. Sleep's a gamble I lose every night, but my body's breaking down, begging for it. I sit on the edge of the mattress, flashlight in one hand, a gas station coffee in the other, black, bitter, cold. The mark itches, a dull burn under my collar, and I try not to think about it. Try not to hear the hum that's been tailing me, faint but there, weaving through the car's engine, the motel walls, my skull. I turn on the TV, some late-night preacher yelling about salvation, his voice a drone that fills the silence. It's better than nothing. I lie back, boots dangling off the bed, and stare at the ceiling, yellowed plaster, water stains blooming like rot. My eyes drift shut, the preacher's words fading, and sleep pulls me under fast, too fast, like something's waiting for me there. I dream of the house again. Not the empty shell I left, the real one, alive, breathing. The floors creak under footsteps I can't see, the walls pulse like flesh, and that sour smell chokes me, thick and wet, like blood and decay. I'm in the basement, the concrete cold under my feet, scratches glowing red on the walls, Elias's symbol pulsing, the slashed circle bleeding into the dark. The air hums, a growl that shakes my bones, and I turn to run, but the stairs are gone, just a black pit where they used to be. The shadows there, taller than before, edges sharp and jagged, cutting the air like glass. It doesn't move, just watches, eyeless, a weight that presses my chest, till my ribs ache. The hum turns to whispers, Sam. Sam. Dozens of voices, raspy and raw, clawing inside my head. I stumble back, hit the wall, and it's warm, wet, sticking to my hands. I look down, they're red, slick with blood, and the whispers laugh, a sound that splits my skull. I wake up screaming or try to, my throat's locked, no sound coming out. The room's dark, the TV off, the preacher's voice gone. The clock blinks 3:33 a.m., red and steady. I fumble for the flashlight, click it on, beam shaking, cutting through the black. The air's freezing, my breath fogging thick, and the mark on my neck burns, sharp and hot, like something's clawing at it from inside. Then I hear it, a thud. Not outside, not the hall, under the bed. Thud, thud, thud. Slow, heavy, like boots pacing the floorboards beneath me. My stomach drops while rising, and I swing the light down. Nothing but carpet, dust, the bed's rusted frame. The thuds keep going, vibrating up through the mattress into my spine. I slide off, feet hitting the floor, and the cold bites, sharp, unnatural, like ice seeping through my soles. The hum starts, low and guttural, weaving through the walls, the ceiling, the floor, everywhere at once. I back up, beam darting, and the thuds shift, behind me now, thudding toward the bathroom. I spin, light catching the cracked door, and it creaks open an inch, slow and deliberate, like something's pushing it. My heart's hammering loud enough to drown out the hum, but not the whisper, Sam, raspy right behind me. I turn. Nothing. Empty room, empty bed, but the air's thick, pressing against me, and the sour smell hits, rotten, choking like the basement all over again. The thuds circle, faster now, shaking the walls, till the TV rattles, the window rattles, my teeth rattle. I stumble to the dresser, check the door, still locked, still blocked, but the knob twists slow and steady like someone's testing it from outside. The hum surges, a growl that shakes my chest, and the shadows there, in the corner, tall and thin, edges bleeding into the dark. Is sharper now, more solid, a shape that doesn't fit, too long, too twisted, no face but a hunger I feel in my gut. I swing the flashlight, beam hits it, and it flickers, darting to the bathroom doorway, gone when I blink. The thuds stop, the growl fades, but the air stays cold, the mark burning hotter. I don't move, just stand there, light trembling, waiting. Minutes drag, maybe hours, till the clock blinks 4:01 a.m. The room's quiet, but it's not safe. I grab my bag, keys, and rip the dresser aside, doors still locked, knob still. I unlock it, fling it open, and run, barefoot across the lot, gravel cutting my feet, till I'm in the car. I peel out, headlights slicing the dark, and don't look back. The road's empty, fields stretching black on both sides. The hum's there, faint, trailing me, weaving through the engine's roar. I check the mirror, empty seats, but my neck throbs, the mark pulsing like a heartbeat. I drive, till dawn, till the sky's gray and heavy, stopping at a diner, greasy, neon-lit, truckers hunched over coffee. I sit in a booth, hands wrapped around a mug I don't drink, staring at nothing. The waitress, a tired woman with dyed red hair, asks if I'm okay. I nod, lying, and she leaves me be. I catch my reflection in the window, eyes sunken, skin gray, the mark stark against my neck. It's not just lines now, faint shapes like claws curling toward my jaw. I pull my collar up, hide it, but my hands shake, spilling coffee on the table. I don't stay long, back in the car, back on the road. Days bleed together after that. Another motel, this one a cinderblock box near a railroad, trains rattling past every hour. I lock up, wedge the chair, sit with the flashlight, same dance, different stage. Sleep's a trap I can't avoid, and every night it's worse. The thuds come from the walls now, the ceiling, the floor, circling, closing in. The hum's louder, a growl that shakes my teeth, and the shadows there, every corner, every mirror, sharper each time, taller, its edges cutting the air. One night, I wake to the weight again, not on the bed, on me. Heavy, crushing my chest, pinning my arms to my sides. The air's ice, my breath fogging, and the growl's right by my ear, low, wet, like something breathing through a throat full of blood. I can't move, can't scream, just lie there, eyes wide as the shadow looms, huge, filling the room, edges jagged and alive, pulsing like veins. The mark burns, searing, and I feel it, something clawing inside me, under my skin, stretching the bruise, till it splits. The growl turns to a hiss. Sam. Sam. Over and over, till my head's splitting, my vision's blackening. The weight presses harder, till my ribs creak, till I'm sure they'll snap, and the shadow leans closer. No face but a mouth, a gash opening wide, wet and black, humming my name. I thrash, kick, scream inside my head, till it lifts, sudden and sharp, the shadow melting away, the growl fading. I roll off the bed, hit the floor, gasping, room empty, chair in place, door locked. But my chest aches, my shirt's damp, not sweat, blood seeping from the mark, staining my fingers red. I stumble to the bathroom, check the mirror, the bruise is split, raw, claw marks weeping thin trails down my neck. I don't sleep after that, just sit, flashlight on, till dawn. The blood dries, the mark scabs, but it's deeper now, alive, moving under my skin. I pack up, hit the road, another town, another room. The hum's constant, the thuds louder, the weight closer. I see it in the mirror every time, a flicker, a smear, taller, sharper, waiting. The mark spreads, past my jaw, toward my chest, clawing its way in. I'm running out of places to go, out of strength to fight. Every night it's there, thudding, growling, pressing, and every morning the mark's worse, the blood fresher. I don't know if it's the house or me now, if it's bound to that place or if I'm the cage it's breaking into. All I know is it's not stopping, and I'm scared I can't either. I don't know how long I've been on the road now, weeks, maybe months. Time's a smear like the windshield streaked with rain and bug guts. My name's Sam Carter, or it was back when I had a life. A job at a hardware store, a fresh start in a creaky old house after Lisa gutted me in the divorce. That was before the footsteps, the hum, the weight that's been chasing me ever since I found Elias Hawthorne's journal and burned it to ash. Before the house became a trap, before I became its prey. I thought I'd left it behind, but it's here, under my skin, in my blood, thudding through every mile I drive. The mark's taken over now. It started as a bruise on my neck, faint, red, like fingers pressed too hard. Now it's a web of claw marks, black and raw, sprawling across my chest, up my jaw, curling toward my eyes. It burns constant, a dull fire that flares when the hum starts, when the shadow gets close. I see it in every mirror, a jagged smear, tall and thin, bleeding into the dark, no face but a hunger that twists my gut. I don't sleep much, just doze in the car or slump in motel rooms, till it wakes me, thudding, growling, pressing me down. I'm in a new place tonight, or maybe it's the same one, I can't tell anymore. A motel off a dirt road, a sagging row of doors under a flickering sign that says, Sleep Haven. The irony's not lost on me. The clerk, a skinny kid with acne scars, took my cash without a word, handed me a key for room 9. I locked the door, shoved the dresser against it, same as always, and checked the room, bed with a stained quilt, a TV with a cracked screen, a bathroom mirror I avoid. The air's stale, heavy with cigarette smoke and something sour I can't shake, like the house followed me here. I sit on the bed, boots on, flashlight in one hand, a knife from a gas station in the other, A cheap thing, blade dull, but it's all I've got. My bag's by the door, keys in my pocket, coffee gone cold on the nightstand. The mark throbs, sharp and hot, and I pull my shirt up. Black lines pulse under my skin, moving slow like worms burrowing deeper. I press the knife tip to it, just enough to sting, and watch a bead of blood well up, dark and thick. It doesn't stop it, just makes it itch worse. The TV's on, static hissing through a late-night ad for car insurance. White noise to keep the quiet at bay. I lie back, head on the flat pillow, and stare at the ceiling, cracked plaster, cobwebs swaying in the vent's breath. My eyes burn, gritty and raw, but I can't close them long. Every night's the same, thuds, hums, that wait, and every morning the mark's bigger, the blood fresher. I'm running out of road, out of fight, but stopping's not an option. Not yet. Sleep catches me fast, a black tide pulling me under. I dream of the house, always the house. The floors creak, the walls groan, and that sour smell chokes me, thick and wet like rot and rust mixed with blood. I'm in the basement, barefoot on cold concrete, scratches glowing red, Elias's symbol pulsing, the slash circle alive, bleeding into the dark. The air hums, a growl that rattles my teeth, and the shadows there, taller than the walls, sharper than ever, edges cutting the air like knives. It doesn't move, just watches, eyeless, a weight that crushes my chest, till I can't breathe. The hum turns to whispers, Sam. Sam. Dozens, hundreds, rasping my name, clawing inside my skull. The walls pulse, flesh now warm and slick, and my hands stick, red, dripping, blood pooling at my feet. I turn to run, but the stairs twist, spiraling down into a black pit, and the shadow moves, slow, deliberate, stretching toward me. The whispers laugh, a sound that splits my head, and the mark burns, searing through my skin, till I'm screaming without sound. I wake to the weight, not a dream, real, crushing me to the bed. My eyes snap open, the room pitch black, TV dead, clock blinking 3:33 a.m. The air's ice, my breath fogging thick, and the marks on fire, sharp, tearing like claws ripping me open from inside. I can't move, arms pinned, legs locked, chest sinking under a pressure that grinds my ribs. The growl starts, low and wet, right by my ear, guttural, choking like something's throat is full of blood and bile. The shadows there, above me, filling the room, edges jagged and alive, pulsing like veins. It's solid now, not smoke. A shape too tall, too thin, limbs bent wrong, no face but a gash where a mouth should be, wet and black, humming my name. Sam. The knife's gone, knocked away, clattering somewhere, and the flashlight's dim, rolling on the floor, beam flickering wild. The weight shifts, pressing harder, till my ribs creak, till my lungs burn for air I can't pull in. The growl surges, shaking the bed, the walls, my bones, till the window rattles, the dresser jumps, the ceiling cracks. I feel it, cold, solid, clawing at my chest, my neck, my face, fingers digging into the mark, splitting it wide. Blood seeps, hot and thick, soaking my shirt, pooling under me, and the shadow leans closer, the gash stretching, humming louder, till it's all I hear, all I feel. I thrash, kick, twist, scream inside my head, and the weight lifts, sudden and sharp, the shadow darting back, melting into the dark. I roll off the bed, hit the floor hard, gasping, air rushing in, cold and bitter. The room's empty, dresser in place, door locked, but my chest's wet, blood, not sweat, pouring from the mark, now a raw, gaping mess of claw marks and black veins. I stumble to the bathroom, flip the light, flickering weak, and check the mirror. My face is gray, eyes sunken, but the mark's worse, split wide, black lines pulsing, curling past my jaw, up my cheeks toward my eyes. Blood drips, staining the sink, and I see it, behind me in the glass. A flicker, a smear, tall and thin, gone when I turn. The hum's back, low and steady, weaving through the walls, and the thuds start, slow, heavy, circling the room, shaking the floor, till the tiles crack. I grab my bag, my keys, knife's gone, flashlight's dead, and rip the dresser aside. The door's locked, knob cold, but it twists under my hand, slow and deliberate like something's letting me out. I fling it open, run, barefoot across the lot, gravel cutting deep, till I'm in the car. I fumble the key, start it, and peel out, headlights slashing the dark, tires screaming on dirt. The road's empty, rain starting, smearing the windshield. The hum follows, faint, weaving through the engine, the wipers, my skull. I check the mirror, empty seats, but my neck throbs, my chest bleeds, soaking my shirt. I drive, till dawn, till the sky's gray and heavy, stopping at a gas station. Pumps rusted, lights buzzing. I stumble out, hands shaking, and pump gas, blood dripping on the concrete, mixing with oil and rain. I don't know where I'm going, just away, anywhere. The car's a cage now, coffee cups, wrappers, the hum a constant passenger. I catch it in the mirror, every glance, a flicker, taller, sharper, closer. The mark spreads, past my eyes now, black veins framing my face, pulsing when the thuds come, shaking the seats, the wheel, my bones. I find a town, small, nameless, a cluster of houses and a diner. I pull over, slump in the seat, and watch the rain. The hum's louder, the thuds constant, under the car, in the roof, everywhere. I don't check in anywhere, just sit, keys in hand, waiting. Night falls, slow and thick, and the weight comes, not on me, around me, pressing the car, creaking the frame. The shadows outside now, tall, thin, cutting the rain, circling the car. The growl shakes the windows, the hum splits my head, and the mark burns, tearing wider, blood pooling in my lap. I see it, through the windshield, the side window, the mirror, everywhere at once, solid, alive, the gash stretching wide, humming my name. Sam. Sam. Over and over, till my ears bleed, till my vision blurs. I don't run this time, just sit, hands on the wheel, blood dripping, the shadow closing in. The car shakes, the windows crack, and the weight presses, crushing, cold, final. The hum's all I hear, the thud's all I feel, and the mark's alive, clawing through me, till I'm not sure where it ends and I begin. Morning comes, I think. The rain stops, the car's still, the shadow's gone. I'm alive or something like it, blood-crusted, mark pulsing, eyes black in the rear view. The hum's faint, waiting, and the thuds echo, distant, patient. I start the car, drive slow, no direction, just moving. The house is miles behind, but it's here or I'm there, and I hear it, every creak, every whisper, hinting it's not done. I pass a sign, another town, another chance, but the shadow flickers in the mirror, the mark throbs, and I know. Is waiting, back in that house, or in me, or both, for the next one, the next fear to feed on. I keep driving, rain starting again, and the hum follows, soft and sure, till it's all I am.